Hello, everyone. Very warm wishes from Phonics Literature Festival. I, Kosha, welcome you all for this day one of this literature virtual literature festival, hosted for especially for children and their books. Today, we have with us two young minds who will be talking to us about their book, about their reading habits, about the authors they like, about books they like, and many more things. But icing on the cake is that they will be launching their book digitally on this platform during this literature festival. So, yes, it is rightly said that young habits that are formed when you are young, goes with you till the life. So, reading is one such habit. Earlier, when children don't know to read, as a parent, you read to them, parent or elder, and then they get inclination towards their reading, and this is by far the best friends or till life. What do you say, Shana and Aditya?
I think that's a good point.
Yeah. So I welcome you both to the show and very excited to converse with you all. So, before we start, can we please launch your two books? So, first, I would like Shana to launch her book. Please show us the cover of your book, Tales of
This is my
Unicorn,
book,
The Adventures of Unicorn.
The
Wonderful.
Adventures of Unicornia.
Yeah, Unicornia. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, Aditya, can we have look at? Okay, can we have a look at your book, please? The Human
Yeah.
Paradox. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. At such a young age, when these children know, rather, we when we were young, we were like thinking how to express a small thing, but these children are taught, or I don't know, they have interest in expressing their things, expressing their feelings through words, expressing their imagination, their feelings, everything. So I guess it's very good for the coming generation that what they are doing, they are leaving a legacy, they are creating a history for generations to come by writing the books. Okay, the technical team, can we have a small video of their book before I introduce them to the audience? Yeah, so this is the book, The Human Paradox and the Adventures of Unicornia. One is written by ShannaSurya and other is written by Aditya. Okay, before we proceed, let me tell you about ShannaSurya. She's just 10 years old, and right from her childhood, she was passionate about not only about reading and writing, but also for yoga and kung fu. So everything that is healthy for the mind and inner self, she is into it. So she's completed diploma in yoga and beginner to advanced course in drawing. She has a yellow belt in Kung Fu, and being academically very strong, she is inclined towards creativity and drawing illustration. She dwells in the world of imagination and fantasy. So her book is also a fantasy book, The Unicornia's Adventure. That is a fantasy fiction book which she has written. She loves fairy tales too, and she likes to spend time with the book. Welcome, Shana. Congratulations for your book at a very tender age. Very
Thank
nice
you.
to see your book. Yeah.
Thank you.
And our other guest, Aditya. Aditya has a global talk show which was established in 2018, which is a podcast platform. And it has completed over 450 episodes, various topics like sports, education, popular culture, entertainment, etc. And the mission for this podcast is disseminate information through digital media, and initiate a civilized discussion. A wonderful word, wonderful mission, like initiate a civilized discussion. I'm so proud that you all use such a beautiful language, and your thoughts are so clear. What do you want from your talk show? What do you want readers to know through your words? This show is anchored by Aditya and has an established name in the world of sports, education, culture, and entertainment. He has authored four books: The Fifth Empire, Beyond TV 33 cinematic production that transformed the silver screen, and the complete collected short stories, and The Human Paradox, which we just launched, and has contributed a short story to the book Phonics 11 Stories on Hope. Wonderful. Welcome, Aditya. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Okay. So, yes, Shana, can you tell me that what interested you towards reading books and then expressing your thoughts? Like, and which kind of books do you like to read?
Maybe I'll start with I have a library at my house. My
Wow.
grandfather inspired me to read. I want to get more knowledge and know about various things and mysteries that surrounds our universe. I wanted to know about the culture, lifestyle, and everything about other countries and people.
Mm,
So I started reading books. I like author Elisabetta Danny and her books, the Geronimo Stilton series. I like
wow,
fantasy
Geronimo.
and imagination to go into the virtual world too of
Mm,
AI and robots. I want to be a space scientist and also I want to make more and more robots because making robots
wow.
make my life easier and more lazier.
Easy and lazy too. Yeah. Wonderful. So you want to be a space scientist.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So your grandfather inspired you to read, to start reading. Oh, like
Yes.
childhood, he might be telling you all those stories and reading you from the books. That's how you got inspired. Wonderful.
My grandpa used to say, read books. My grandma used to read me books.
Oh, nice. Your mom is as well very nice author. She might be also encouraging you, right?
Yeah, she encourages me very well and motivates
Very
me.
nice. She motivates you. Very nice, Shana. We The same question, if I can know from Aditya, that what interested you towards reading books, and what kind of books do you like to read? Aditya, you are mute.
When it comes to reading books, I think I love the mysteries and the thrillers.
Hmm.
That's what maybe not means when I was around her age, then maybe it was Harry Potter, and then I moved from the Harry Potter tales because I thought that that was more than just what it was. Harry Potter was, for example, less about fantasy, more about friendships. If you
Hmm.
understand it, it's less about fantasy and more about
Hmm.
friendship, which is common in every.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
like from David Baldacci or Ashwin Sanghi, the thrillers, that's what I like. I even watch
Hmm.
thrillers more over romantic, or romance doesn't get to me, but I prefer thrillers because there's something which is going to happen in the end. There's always the
Hmm.
element of how the writer keeps us hooked, that uh, in a book you always have continue to the next thing, which means we have to buy the book. It's a win-win for the author, and that's the
Hmm.
way things are. Books like Jack Reacher are very interesting. The character of Jack Reacher, for example, he is how do I put it? He is someone who is very reserved. If you've seen the description in the books, not in the
Hmm.
movies it's
Hmm.
difficult to describe, but in the books of Jack
Yes.
Reacher, the way the author describes him, he is someone who is not into too much of depth of things, but he has a very uh,
But he
limited
has a
outlook of
knowledge
the
of
world, but he
everything
knows
only.
things. That's what. So
Yeah.
characters like Jack Reacher or uh, books like Shantaram, I like that book. Shantaram was very interesting.
Mhm.
Its second version, The
Hmm.
Mountain Shadow, was also interesting. So books like
Hmm.
these I enjoy. Even the let's say the adaptation of the same adaptations can be a little uh, they may not have that effect because you have already read the book, but if you read the book then you read the adaptations, it's always a thriller. So I prefer thrillers, mysteries. That's what puts me, even action. So these are my genres. As far as what made me to interest reading, I have been reading newspapers for a long time, and then newspapers, magazines. So it's not just fiction but non-fiction as well. So that's what my interests are.
Wow.
Over to you, Kosha.
But do you read any kind of comic as of now?
Comic, well, it was once upon a time. It was Chacha Chaudhary. That was interesting.
Huh.
But even the graphic novels, like we all love the characters of Hawkeye and Captain America and all those things, but I haven't read those in terms of then their graphic novels, their comic books, but I have seen them through far. I mean, I have. I mean, we don't use the word comic nowadays. It's more like graphic novels. Graphic novel is slightly a better term in terms of that they're not comics can have a negative effect that they're comic, they're not comic. Graphic novels
Right.
is an illustration through photos and dialogues which also interests children, but for me there is no limitation. I can read graphic novels or
Wonderful.
yeah,
Can you
it
please
depends on.
volume up a bit from your end?
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Shana,
yeah,
which
graphic
kind of
novels,
comic? Yeah. Sorry.
it's okay, carry on.
Yeah. Yes, Shana. Which kind of comics do you read?
Avengers, big
Which
fan
one?
of
Sorry.
Avengers, big fan of Marvel.
Avengers. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, okay. Tell us a little bit more about the book which we launched, Adventures of Unicornia. What it is and why what inspired you to write this book? Why did you write this book?
Um, my grandparents have inspired me to write the book. I got this book as a dream. I wrote it as a book. My book, The Adventures of Unicornia, includes fairies, monsters, dark powers, witches, fairy wives, and a lot of fantasy. The
Hmm.
main characters are Unicornia and Simon. The Adventures of Unicornia is a tale of magic, fantasy, and imagination, centered around the world of fairies. The battle
Okay.
ensues between the good fairies and the dark fairies as the struggle to win the magical potions and the magical stones begin. The adventure begins as Unicornia and Andal and Simon are in the quest to eliminate the evil and darkness. Will they get hold of magical stones? Will they win over the universe queen? Will the happiness and joy continue to flourish in the fairyland?
Wonderful. Wonderful. A fiction, fantasy world which you like, right? So that story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my parents
Okay.
also motivated me a lot.
Okay. Wonderful. And Aditya, can you tell us about your books,
Yeah,
especially the
sure. So
Human
my book is
Paradox?
pretty. My book is. I mean, the title is self-explanatory that human beings are full of paradoxes. I mean, Shana
Hmm.
will take time to understand what is a paradox in some time, maybe. But in general, human beings are full of paradoxes that on one hand we love gadgets, on the other hand we one of my articles says that on one hand we love gadgets, on the other we fear that information may be leaked. So that's the paradox which is there. Or
Okay.
the paradox of shopping. We all want to shop, but we don't want to go and do in-person shopping. We prefer shopping from our homes. Yet we are skeptical of the products that will be sent by that particular shop. So that's the paradox.
Correct. So your book describes all this
Yes,
human
just
nature.
there are different articles I have written over the years. So I've compiled them. So
Okay.
that's how it is.
Wonderful. So yes, society and human are, even thinking wise, like today what is good as per society, tomorrow it may not be good. The same thing. So yes, that human paradox which you're talking about is the truth of the society which we all know, which we all experience, but it needed to be put down into words. Wonderful.
I
And
mean, take the example of social
why
media.
did
We
you
all want
choose
to be
this
on social
subject, or
media.
how do you choose?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Your question?
No, I'm sorry, please. I didn't hear you.
I'm
Sorry.
saying I'm given an example which everyone can understand because that's what it is. So take the
Yeah.
example of social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We all use it for publicity or information purpose. Yet there's now a law. Yet there's an antitrust law. You have governments all over the world looking at these as publishers. People, someone publishes something, the other one feels bad about it, yet we continue to publish knowing that.
Correct.
Yet the thing is, what baffles me is how can we take something published on social media, whether it was a negative comment or a positive comment, seriously, because it's not there. It's like it's you can't touch it. You can touch a newspaper, you can know that it's there. I mean, it's a paradoxical situation that you put something on social media, it becomes a viral situation, and then it develops into some kind of a negative thing. So people know about it, yet people publish it, yet there are squabbles on social media between different people, knowing that it's not exactly to be taken seriously, but that's what happens. And that's how it is. So that's the basic thing. One of the things in my book. So that's a paradox. Like Shana, we would presume her she should not be on social media, but if she wants, but she is there right now. She's on two platforms simultaneously right now. So it's catch 22. Should I use this platform to release my book? Should I go to a hall and do it with my friends in the in-person world? But that in-person thing is also limited. You can't go out easily. So you have to adapt to this way, even though she's 10, she has to do what
Correct.
she could be doing 10 years from now. So even though we presume that children should not be doing certain things, for example, you have the example of adult movies, but how would you know that adults are good enough to watch a movie which children are not? And how can adults tell us that don't watch this, don't read this book, have they read the book? So these are some of the examples in my book.
Wonderful. And how do you choose the title of the subject of your book?
Hmm?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Aditya, please.
Subject matter. The
Aditya,
different
after that.
articles means I read, then I mean, it's just I read over time. If you have read, okay, if you have read editorials in newspapers, they give
Okay.
you a very good idea of what things are right now. I mean, is it
Hmm.
against what's happening again? Is it for a certain event or against a certain event? So yes, I mean, I read and I write my own experience. I mean, I've read things like people have actually quarreled over social media, which amuses me. How can you actually quarrel? You are not seeing
Correct.
each other. You will, I mean, you're not going
Correct.
to come face to face. And then what happens? Their respective fanatics also start quarreling. So it's like,
See, like something happens and people posts in and others start arguing in the comment session on the
I've seen,
social
yeah,
media.
exactly. Yet if we don't then we may be called dinosaurs. How can you not adapt to things? So you have to adapt,
Exactly. But
yet you have to be careful of things. Means like we have the data protection law coming in India. There's already a data protection law in Europe. How it's going to protect children? It's also a catch 22. How do people decide what can we watch, what we cannot watch?
mm,
Then you have situations where if a movie if you remember that I know this might seem a little strange, but if you remember that TV show or web series, uh, Family Man, before the second season there was a lot of
yeah,
thing about it. It has certain negative things. What happens? It still had a full house. Everyone watched it. So maybe is
correct.
so one of my articles says that is it a deliberate negative publicity about these things? Does an author deliberately negatively publicize, or there are events where you see certain groups dismantle movie sets because they don't like the supposed plot. They haven't seen the movie, but I've heard it through rumors that the plot of this movie is against certain their beliefs or whatever. So that's strange. I mean,
Hmm.
how if you don't want to see it, you have 200 different so-called OTTs. Don't watch it. Don't subscribe to it. It's a very simple thing. If you don't like, if on Netflix there are TV shows which let's say is not for Shanna's age, then what can we do? You have the kids option. Just open the kids
Yep.
page, lock it. Right? But then that comes irony. How can parents say this TV show is not good for this kid? Have they seen it? Or are they just going on rumor? Means how are parents qualified to tell children you don't watch this, but we'll watch it? First, we'll watch, we'll say no, it's not good. I think if parents have seen it, then everyone can see it. So so
Agree.
if you read my book, you'll get it. I'm maybe giving away too many things, but it may seem get into that zone of controversy and all, but maybe that's the way books are. And this was all no holds barred kind of a book. So fourth book, after the experiencing a lot, this is one of those no holds barred kind of a book. That's what the whole idea is.
Wonderful. So I would request the audience that please read this book, Human Paradox, so that, it's not always like that we parents only teach children. Sometimes even they teach us. And Sana, how did you choose the topic, or how do you choose the topics on which you want to write, especially on this book? Shana, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
how did you choose
In
this
the
topic?
Okay, in the case of the first book, I remembered everything and wrote. For my second book, which is based on horror, I choose the story first, then the characters. The story is the heart, and the characterization is the mind. Story has a voice, and the voice is the characters. Story is the backbone, while characters tell them through dialogues and conversation. Our life itself is a story. We write with our feelings and emotions, so both are important to me.
Wonderful. You're writing on a horror subject. Wow.
I
The
love
next
horror,
book.
but I only read horror books, so it is picked up my interest.
Very nice. I'm sure the horror genre authors who all are, they'll be very happy to have your book in that genre, because that's something like generally kids avoid. What kids generally people avoid. And right now there are many good horror authors in India, like Abhirup sir hai, फिर Neil De Silva sir hai. They'll be very happy to hear that you're writing your next book in the horror genre. Wonderful.
Actually, it's not
Aditya,
horror, but it's thriller and mystery, which makes us feel like it's a horror book. It's a different
yeah,
concept.
okay, okay. And how do you manage this all the things like school hai, homework hai, you even want to go for some extracurricular activities, your other hobbies, you want to play with your friends. meet your friends, and
No, I
above
don't
all,
want to
how
play
do
with
you
my
manage
friends.
reading and writing?
Okay, like I wake up at 5:30 to do exercise and meditation. From
Wow.
8 to 2 I have school. In in school at least we'll have a free class, like where there is, in case a teacher is absent or she taking class for higher standards because of exams. At that time I'll do my homework, and also I'll say to myself, like, study while others are playing and play while others are studying. Then I will enjoy playing while I reach home. From 7
Mm.
to 8 I write the books, and I read books on weekends so that it will
Okay.
be more easier to manage my timings, and Saturday and Sundays.
Then
I do kung
relax.
fu
Hmm.
from
So with
6 to
relaxed mind,
7.
you can. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I do kung fu from 6 to 7 in the evening. I read every day for half an hour at least, and write for 40 minutes in 1 hour at least.
Wow.
Reading is very interesting.
So disciplined you are, Sana. I'm feeling little inferior here now. So disciplined, all time fixed. Huh? Very nice. And on weekends, you can read, with peaceful mind, relaxed mind. That okay, you don't have back of the mind if you complete your homework or
Yeah, when you
complete
sit
your.
actually at the spring and winter season, go and sit at the terrace. It's so cool. The like the breeze and all. It's a different feeling, like reading a
Yeah,
book.
wonderful. So nice. Better keep it up. And
Thank
Aditya,
you.
how do you manage your time for reading and writing?
So, I mean, there's no exact uh, science to it or deduction to it. It's like uh, I usually read in the evening around 9, 10 o'clock, and then I read a couple of books, and then I read newspapers through which you can get a lot of ideas. I won't go into details because that's the secret. And then I just, if I want to write an article, because these are the ones I've written over since 5, 6 years. So it's not just it
Mm.
happened 1 year ago. It's been happening 5, 6 years ago. There were enough that I decided to put into a book. They were on a website in a blog, but that was never going to work because they were solo articles in silos. They were so I
Okay.
thought, why not? All my four books have been like this. The first one, that is the Fifth Empire, is based on various my sports reviews, my
Hmm.
take on sports matches. You've seen in newspapers, but that's my thing. The second book, Beyond the TV, it's what I think of the movie, my movie review, because everyone has a different idea. That is
Right.
my thing. The third one, short stories. I started writing short stories separately, and then I decided writing a book will be the best thing because that will completely put it there somewhere in the cloud or somewhere in the shelf that I have a book. So I wrote articles and I put it into books, and that's how the four books came about. But there was no
Wonderful.
separation. Sometimes I wrote a sports review, then I thought I'll write something like one of these articles. And I saw a movie, I would come home and then immediately
And
write
you
the
will
review.
write it
So
down.
that's how it worked. That's how it worked.
Wonderful.
There's no
And you're
silo or
working on the
anything
new
more.
book as of now? Like Shana is working on her new book?
Okay, I have an idea for the book. I won't go into details, but that will take time because it requires a lot of reading. But yeah, I'll work slowly. And there are times when I don't write, or uh, I may write today, I may not write after 15 days. But that's everyone has a different methodology to it. So there's no need to follow anyone's thing because that doesn't work. I have a different
Correct.
method, you have a different method, Shana has a different method. 10 years from now, Shana may think this method was childish. That's the way it works.
Mm.
20 years from now, she may think that was childish because you will adapt. So maybe 10 years from now, I'll have a different idea. I may think this book was childish. I don't know what will happen. So it's I
Okay.
each day, and then I have my talk show, which also takes away time. So that also happens simultaneously, and from there only sometimes I write in snippets, and there then I put it into detail. So that's the way it works.
Okay, wonderful. Shanna, before we wrap up the session, may I know the quote that you want to tell to the viewers and the children, especially? Anything?
Okay, like the purpose of our life. What is the purpose of our life? What do you think? For me, like achieving the goals and dreams and becoming a space scientist, everything you will know, na? Like achieving your goals and dreams. But what will happen at the last? You will be happy. So the purpose of
Correct.
the life is to be happy.
Happy.
Have a smile and do everything with happiness and a cute little smile which will pop on your face. The universe will open its door for you.
So nice. So nice. Thank you. Aditya, do you want to pass on any message before we end? We just have a minute left if you can make it
Yeah.
quick.
My message is before, is that it's from the TV show Star Trek, from the character of Spock, who says, "Live long and prosper." That's all my message.
Wonderful. It was great talking to you both. And please keep reading, keep writing, and keep encouraging people with your words. Thank you so much for joining us today, and all the best for your books. Thank you so much, viewers. On behalf of Phoenix Literature Festival, Day 1, I, Kosha Shah, sign off from this session. And please continue watching or being part of this literature festival. Thank you. Stay safe. Bye bye.